So 290, Siman Tef Reish Ayin Zayin. Din Achsenai b'Chanukah. The laws of a guest on Chanukah. Uvo Dalet Sifim. There are 4 halachot in this chapter. Achsenai. A person who is a guest. She'en malikim alav beveito. See? So they don't light in his home. Top left of the page. Top.
Oh.
A guest, a traveler who doesn't have someone who's lighting in his house. Remember, this is different than the traveler yesterday. The traveler yesterday didn't have anywhere to light at all because he was traveling. Here, we have a traveler who's staying in someone's home for Hanukkah. Tzarich latet, he must give a pruta, a small coin, the Baal Bayit, to the host of the house, lishtatef imo b'shemen shel ner Hanukkah, in order to include himself in the lighting of the oil, meaning the oil of the Hanukkah candles that this man will light. So if you're a guest, you have an obligation to light Hanukkah candles along with your host, and therefore you would join in your host's candles so they shall light for you.
So you're in your sense buying into the mitzvah?
You're buying into the mitzvah. And you
That's
don't even have to buy into the whole mitzvah, it's a little bit of the mitzvah. A little bit of the oil has to be for you.
So that's if you didn't light your own Chanukiah?
You're staying in someone else's house.
Oh, you're a guest.
You're a guest.
So if I went to your house and you were lighting and I didn't light my own, if I gave you a coin, would it count?
More like if you were coming to my house from New York for Shabbat Hanukkah.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And now you have to be here, so the way to do it is to give me a coin and to include yourself in the night of lighting that I light.
Nice.
V'im yesh lo petach patuach. And if he has an opening, a doorway that opens out, next page, La'atzmo, it's your own private entrance. So let's say you're staying in someone's house, but you have your own private entrance. Tzarich lahadlik b'fitcho. You have to light in your own private entrance. It doesn't mean your own private entrance into the person's house.
So it's like if you have a room in the house, you put it by your room?
In here?
Or like
let's say where Yitzchak lives. It's connected to someone else's house, but he has his own entrance. So he he's not part of the Hanukkah candle lighting of the house next door. He's part of his own Hanukkah candle lighting. The same thing if you're a guest. You're staying in a person's property, but not in their house.
So what about if you're staying in a residence inn, for example? Like
In a
your house
hotel.
is
Well,
being
yeah,
fixed.
here we're talking more about your lighting. What's the problem here? Why can't you just light your own Hanukkah on the Shabbat table? Why do you have to go with him?
I'm sorry, what did you... I'm sorry.
Why are you joining in with his Hanukkah candles? Why don't you light your own Hanukkah?
Because you're sleeping at his place with
Yeah,
not a
so what?
separate
So you
entrance.
also light.
I don't know. He said in his house.
Well, he said it's where you sleep.
This is all according to the Sfaradim. But we light only one Chanukiah in one house. You cannot add Chanukiah.
Oh.
If you're Ashkenazi, you would be lighting your own Chanukiah anyways.
That's a custom of Ashkenaz or a halacha for Ashkenaz?
Custom based on the halacha. אף על פי שאותו בית אינו מיוחד אלא לשינה והוא אוכל על שולחן בעל הבית. And this is true, you light in your own doorway, even if the room you're staying in is not an eating room, it's just a sleeping room. It just has beds. Where do you eat? You eat all your meals in their house with everybody else. והוא אוכל על שולחן בעל הבית, he's eating in the בעל הבit's table. והוא הדין לבן האוכל אצל אביו, and this is the same halacha by the son who eats in his father's house. So if I were to go to my father's house for Shabbat, let's say this Shabbat I was at my parents' home, and they were home, I would have to join in their lighting, unless I had my own room that faced out to the public somewhere.
Was that of a separate entrance?
With a separate entrance. Haggah, says the Ramah, v'yesh omrim, and some say, the Bizman hazeh that nowadays, shemadlikim bifnim, mamash, that you really light inside the house, actually inside the house. Yadlik b'makom shoched, you should light in the place where you eat. V'chein nagu, and that's the custom. The custom is that a person who's a guest at someone's house, an Ashkenazi family, he would light another Chanukiah in where everyone else lighting the Chanukiah. But if you're a Sephardi, Halacha is that you would give to the Baal Bayit to light for you. Bet, katan shehigia lechinuch. Katan she'egia lechinuch. Katan, what is a katan?
Child.
A child who reaches the age of chinuch. What is the age of chinuch?
Education, like it can read and
At
understand.
what age do you have to? What age are we talking about?
Is that like 6 months before the?
The age of chinuch. When do you start teaching your child to do mitzvot?
Oh, they're little.
Some say 6, some say 8, some say 9, some say 10. In that age range, 8 or 9 years old. So this katan that reaches the age of chinuch, tzarich lahadlik. He must light his own candles.
So it's part of it, it's part of the middle.
Small.
Hidden.
They're healthier than they look. So.
No, they actually look
I'm
good.
picky.
Just don't eat this late at
Take
night.
both.
Let me.
I'm just joking.
Let's read the Mishnah Berurah and say, want to read Mishnah Berurah? How do you find the Mishnah Berurah? You see the word katan?
Yes.
Katan. What
there's a
letter
dalet.
is next to the katan? There's a
Dalet.
dalet. There's another.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
dalet
Gimel.
takes you all the way to the right side of the page. You see the Orchot Chaim? It says Ber HaGolan top. And the dalet, there's a dalet that matches this dalet. Take your finger on the word katan. And go all the way to the right. See that little commentary? All the way to the right. Keep going, keep going.
Oh
keep
yeah,
going.
yeah,
On the
yeah.
margin of the page.
Tiny, tiny, tiny.
That tells you the source of the halakha.
Oh.
You want to look to the word katan, there's a parenthesis with a word instead of a letter.
Yeah.
Yud Gimel. You want to follow that Yud Gimel? Down. Just take your finger down, 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 until you find a line that says Yud Gimel.
Hypertext.
Hmm.
It's in the
Yeah.
commentary called
Yeah.
Mishnah Berurah. So it's in the middle. It's the page. It's the commentary that looks like an L.
Yeah.
You found it?
Mhm.
Very good.
The original hypertext.
Yud Gimel. Katan shegia lechinuch. This is the Chavetz Chaim right. A child who reaches the age of chinuch. Lefi ma shepasak hamchaber. Based on what the mechaber. Who's the mechaber? What does mechaber mean?
Friend?
It's chaver. Mechaber. Yitzchak. What are you writing in?
The maker, friend maker.
What are you writing in?
A copybook or something.
What's the name of that thing?
It's a notebook.
A notebook. How do you say
Oh,
notebook
yeah.
in Hebrew?
Machberet.
Machberet, very good.
Ah.
The author of a book is
Scribe.
called a mechaber.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah? Mechaber is the Ashkenazi word for Maran. We say Maran. Ashkenazim, he's not their Maran. So they call him the Mechaber.
Oh.
Meaning
author.
the author. The author of what? The Shulchan Aruch. So when you see an Ashkenazi rabbi write Mechaber, you know that that's what we would read as Maran.
A less loving title.
Well, it's a different title because it's for real.
They never.
I know, I believe the Chazon Ish called Rabbi Yosef Karo Maran. But he was one of the few Ashkenazi rabbis I ever saw do that.
Really?
Until today, the Mechaber this, the Mechaber and Ramah. There's a Mechaber and Ramah.
Like when they call Gershom Shalom the architect.
So lefi ma shepasak ha-mechaber, that's Maran. According to what Maran was posek, b'siman tafresh ayin, aleph, in chapter tafresh ayin aleph, that was the first siman we did last week. Seif bet, in the second halakha. Dafilu ha-mehadrin min ha-mehadrin, that even according to the mehadrin min ha-mehadrin opinion, the best of the best, ed madekin rak ner echad l'chol anshe habayit. Only one candle is lit for every person of the house. V'rak shemosevim v'ochim b'chol yom ner echad yoter. According to Maran, who says the opinion of the Sfaradim is that in one house you light one Chanukiyah, and every night you add a candle to that one Chanukiyah. Al Korchach, you have no choice but to explain the words of Maran here. I mean, why should a child light a Chanukiyah? According to Maran, does a child ever light a Chanukiyah?
No.
No, because who lights Chanukiyah?
Yeah.
Balabayit.
The Balabayit, his father who owns the house.
Right. That's true.
Al Kochach, so you have no choice but Ma'irikat to say that here it is speaking about Sha'akatan hazeh, that this child, yesh lo bayit b'fnei atzmo, he has his own house.
What are they called? They're called katana.
Big kid.
What age you get married?
13.
13. He's 11. He's getting ready to get married. His parents put aside in their side of the house another house for him. V'alken tzech ladik levarech, and therefore he has to light and make his own brachot because he has his own house. Aval edidan, but according to us, who's us?
Ashkenazim.
Ashkenazim. Dinahaginan, that our custom is shekol echad tzarich lehader, that everybody must go and do the extra mitzvah udadlik b'fnei atzmo, to light their own Chanukiyah. אם כן, therefore, גם הקטן הזה צריך בכל גבנה להדליק בפני עצמו. Then regardless of whether he has his own room or not, or what age of chinuch he is, he has to light his own Chanukah. According to Ashkenazi custom, the child lights his own Chanukah anyways. והכי פסק הרמ"ן לאל בסוף סימן תרע"ה, and that's what the Ramah ruled at the end of Tafresh Where is that? What did Ramah say? What did Ramah say there? Tafresh the Ramah rules.
It's right here.
Tafresh Ramah writes on page 288. You see the top of 288. The last line in the top is in a different font, smaller. Haga starts with Hey Gimel Hey. 288. Yeah. Haga, who's writing that?
That's Rashi script?
In your book, it's Rashi script. Yeah. The Ramah says, "Uldidan," and according to us, who's us?
Ashkenaz.
Ashkenazim. The kol echad mivnei habayit, that every person in the house madlik b'fnei atzmo, lights his own chanukiah. Therefore, katan shegia lechinuch, a child who reaches the age of chinuch, tzarich le'adlik gam ken, he also must light. Meaning, this halacha is nothing special according to the Ashkenazim. That's what the Mishnah say, because the Ramah already ruled that a child lights. Where is this halacha special? For Maran, and you must interpret Maran as saying that why does this child light his own chanukiah? Because he lives on his own. At the very least, he has a room in the house that faces outside in his own entrance. But the Chavetz Chaim is not done. Aval, page 292. Aval, but Dat HaShiltei Giborim, the opinion of the book Shiltei Giborim, VeHaMeiri, the book of the Meiri. Dafilu Ledidan, that even according to us, who's us? Ashkenazim. Mishnah Berurah is Ashkenazi. Shiltei Giborim is Ashkenazi. The Meiri is Ashkenazi. These three, according to us, and Sarich, I think the Meiri is Ashkenazi.
When do French become Sephard and not Ashkenaz?
Ashkenaz.
Or is it like halfway through the?
There is a
countries?
half and half in France. That's why I'm actually not so confident in telling you the Meiri was Ashkenazi. But I don't know to tell you.
Southern France, northern France, there was a difference.
Yeah. The Sovel Sham, Ledidan, according to us, Ashkenazim, en tzarich chanech hakatan lebnei atzmo. You have no obligation of chinuch to teach a child to light his own chanukiyah. Im lo sheyesh lo bayit b'fnei atzmo, unless he has a house on his own. Listen carefully. Chavetz Chaim is telling you another Ashkenazi opinion, a third opinion. According to Sfaradim, a child doesn't light unless he has his own house, or his own house is a
It's like his
Oh, you
apartment
think a
or
house,
his
right? It's
unit.
like-
His like
yeah, his
side
own unit, exactly. You have to remember that in the way that people used to live, you didn't have houses like you have houses today. The living room, the family room, the kitchen, that was all outside. Yeah. People lived, imagine that in this room, all of these walls were like 2 floors, and there were little apartments. Your father lives here, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your relatives, your mother's family over here. Everybody has their own room.
Sounds like a beef.
They're very small, by the way. If you ever seen such houses, it's room for a bed and maybe to put some stuff. Everything else you do, playing, cooking, everything, reading, everything happens outside. In the courtyard that's in between all the houses.
What's it rains?
So there's awnings, little awnings. People shove things back, and they. Have you never seen what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, in Middle Eastern countries.
In Middle Eastern
it's
countries, the normal way that you set up
Mediterranean,
homes.
Yeah.
They call
Northern
it
Europe
koif
would be harder.
in Yiddish, right?
Yeah? Is that-
Koif or
I don't know, I don't
something,
know.
If that's your wife.
It's not just Sfaradim who live like this.
Yeah.
And for example, you have to understand that that's why you can get married at 13. First 2 years of your life, it's not like you just moved next door. You didn't go off and have to buy a house, and you stayed here. What about cooking? There were turns. Every family made dinner every night, lunch, and so you didn't. Not everyone cooked all the time for everybody. There were shifts that happened. This week is our turn. That was your turn, and everyone's eating with everyone in the courtyard. This is how it is. The kids, you're making dinner. His mom didn't start making dinner, so he comes to your dinner. Tomorrow she sends her kids to your dinner. It was a normal way that people lived. So if you have, the child now has his own room, which is unique, it's a luxury, it's now an age of chinuch. In that place, he has to light a chanukiyah. Says Sfaradim. Ashkenazim, according to the standard understanding of Ashkenazim, says Chavetz Chaim, a child has to light anyways. Especially now that everyone's lighting inside. Everyone's lighting. You light as many Chanukot as you have. Says the Me'irin Shadei Giborim. No, excuse me. Even according to Ashkenazi custom, there is no mitzvah to teach children to light Chanukah candles. Because of what? They don't live on their own yet.
There's no reason. They don't need that. They don't need that heat.
They don't need that hidur. I'll give you an example.
Did they have boarding school back
you
then?
might hear about this, that young girls light Shabbat candles. The Lubavitch Rebbe started a campaign that young girls should light Shabbat candles. They do it with the bracha, they do it with their mothers. And today, if you tell people they can't do that, you better expect war. It's become such a custom. People don't even know it's a Chabad thing. It's become such a custom that everyone does it now.
There's like international websites that
Right,
aren't that
light
aren't
candles
Chabad
around the
that talk
world,
about it.
exactly. And they say single girls light one candle and married girls light two candles, and none of this has originated in Halakha. In fact, it's very simple. When my wife goes to someone's house for Shabbat, and that person lights Shabbat candles, they ask my wife, "Do you want to light your own candles?" What does my wife say?
We're already done.
No, we're done. Once you lit candles, why do I have to light candles? How could the daughter who's standing next to her mother, who has the mitzvah of lighting Shabbat candles like Hanukkah candles in this regard? One candelabra per house, lit by who? The mother of the house.
Your mother.
What business does the daughter have making her own bracha on Shabbat candles? Aside from violating the Ten Commandments and saying Hashem's name in vain.
But you say it together at the same time.
Why? Her mother made a bracha. Now you want to light candles? If I light many candles. So the truth is, Ashkenazim have an opinion that the more candles you light, it's a little more of a mitzvah. But that only applies to other adults, but to a daughter? Oh, you have to educate her.
Katana, you're talking about also.
Katana.
Yeah.
You have to educate her to do mitzvot. Chinuch happens before the obligation to do a mitzvah. Right now she's 6. She has to do chinuch for her bat mitzvah. She's not getting married at her bat mitzvah. So there's no obligation of chinuch in lighting Shabbat candles for her. She's only going to start lighting candles when she has her own home. You don't educate now for what's going to happen when they have their own home. And therefore, says the Chavetz Chaim, there's another opinion of the Ashkenazim that says that children don't light Chanukah candles unless they're living on their own, because in that case, that's preparing them for chinuch.
So that's the really Sephardic thing.
Kind of, yes. It's very troubling to me. A lot of the minhagim that people do, they don't realize they're not even minhagim. With all due respect to Lubavitch Rebbe, that's not a minhag. You can't say, oh, the minhag, it's not your minhag. There's a very honest Chabad rabbi, I forget his name, he has a kol in the Crown Heights. He's very famous. I asked around about him to make sure he wasn't like a renegade opinion, you know? And he actually said that people who become Balei Teshuvah and they join Chabad, that there are many customs they should not do that Chabad does. For example, he was talking about the laws of Pesach. That Chabad has a custom not to eat garlic on Pesach. That's an example I'm giving, yeah? And he said, listen, there are customs that Chabad has that are Chabad customs, like you're not eating kitniot on Pesach. That's an Ashkenazi custom. So you join Chabad, you accept that custom. But the not eating garlic, he mentions some families in Lubavitch ate, some didn't eat, and that was a particular family custom. He says, now that you join Chabad, why would you not eat garlic? You don't have a custom in your family not to eat garlic.
In Europe, they used to soak garlic in beer.
But he's saying, you don't have this tradition, so why would you take on this tradition? It doesn't make sense that you would do this.
No.
There are minhagim. Is this a real minhag that I have to do, or it's minhag that just this person's family did? And we're not very honest with these things about where they come from, how long they've been in existence for. Is the danger of making a blessing on Shabbat candles worse than lighting the candles? It's a nice idea, but making a blessing is saying God's name in vain. That's not such a nice idea. To have understanding of these mitzvot. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see the next halacha.
Sometimes you have everybody singing together.
I didn't want to go there. You know, once you go to someone's house and they ask you, oh, you want to do kiddush? One person should do kiddush in the house.
Nobody lighting the candles.
I know.
Yeah, I've been to places where it takes an hour to do kiddush because everybody's supposed to.
Everybody's doing their own kiddush.
You ever been to some of those? Yeah. It's like 20, 30 people and everyone makes their own kiddush.
I've been to one house a few times where they insist that everybody does their own kiddush, and we keep saying, no, you say kiddush and we'll drink.
Yeah.
If you're in a house where they insist to do your own kiddush, what you could assume is that the Baal Bayit doesn't know halacha. And in that kind of situation, it could be that you should do your own kiddush. Because if the Baal Bayit doesn't know halacha, then there's no way in the world he could possibly have the intention to fulfill your obligation with his kiddush. So sometimes when someone shows their ignoramus, it actually helps, because then you know you need to step up to the plate and do your own kiddush. Literally step up to the plate. It's kiddush plate. Gimel. Yesh omrim, some say. Who says? Who's the some says? Who is it? See a little hay?
The Sephardim say.
Hay. See the hay next to the yesh?
Yes,
Top
yes.
of the page. Top of the page. Halacha
Right.
Gimel. Halacha Gimel. The hay.
Oh, yeah.
Follow that hay to the right.
Got it.
So there's a hay over there. Hay is
Mechari.
you're on the wrong page.
You can put it on YouTube.
Yeah, you're on the right page. The hay. Where's the hay?
Oh, here's the hay.
Hay.
Okay, well,
Mahari Abuhav. Who is the Mahari Abuhav?
Sounds Sephardic.
Yes.
There's no vav over there, but you can take a Shulchan Aruch.
It's a lovely name.
Mahari Abuhav. Who is he? Someone Google him. No, you're not gonna have one. You will find a Shulchan Aruch though, but it's not gonna have Mishnah Berurah.
This is Mishnah Berurah. Oh, but it's not.
Yeah, but that's the volume.
That's part of it. Okay.
You actually have a Mishnah Berurah in your house.
Yeah, I would have brought it if I knew we were gonna.
And if you look in the Shulchan Aruch, you're gonna see Orach Chaim. You want to take the last volume. In that Shulchan Aruch, not the blue books, the brown ones. You're gonna see Orach Chaim. Start on the right side. I mean, the first volume and count like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's either is the 4 the last ones.
It's big.
Mari.
it's Abu Hav Synagogue, Spot Israel, Abu Hav Winery.
And I get a fighter in the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look for one that says Daled on it.
Oh, don't.
Abu Hav Synagogue in Spot Israel.
Very good. What's his name?
Abu Hav. It's Buhav.
What's his name?
Abu Hav.
Abouha.
I don't know. Oh. 15th century synagogue in Spot, Israel.
You can still go there. Any one of you who've been to Tzfat, you've been in his synagogue.
Named after the 15th century Spanish rabbi and Kabbalist Isaac Abu Hav.
There you go. The Mahari Abu.
Yitzhak.
Yeah.
We're doing this one right now.
Okay.
And that is going to be the Mahari Abu Hav over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Mahari Abu Hav is a rabbi in the times of Maran. I mean, he's quoting a contemporary.
Yitzhak Abuha. Okay. Spanish Kabbalist.
Mm.
He never visited Tzfat.
Yesh Omrim, some say, Af al pi shemadlikin alav b'toch beto, even though they light for you inside your house, when your wife is lighting Chanukah candles for you, im hu b'makom she'en bo Yisrael, if you're in a place where there are no Jews, madik b'vrachot, you have to light your own candles with blessings. Says the Rama, why? Haga, ki chayav lirot hanerot, because you must see the candles. חבר'ה, וכן נוהגים, and that's the custom. Someone asked me a question from what we learned yesterday. You have to see the candles?
Yeah.
Remember we said that if you are...
Your wife can do it.
Your wife can do it for you. Do you have to see the candles if your wife is doing it for you?
Yeah,
No.
you're supposed to.
You
No,
can't see
you're
it.
in Border Patrol guard duty the whole night. We mentioned that if you have no one lighting for you, you have to go look for it. You should, and you see someone else's candles, you make a bracha. But what do we say in Tafrei Ayin Vav? Look here with me on page... we said already there that if someone is lighting for you in your house and you see someone else's candles, do you have to make a bracha on those candles?
No.
No. You only make a bracha on someone else's candles if
You haven't lit at home, or someone hasn't
Or
lit for
you haven't lit, or someone hasn't lit for you. So over here, he's contradicting what we have earlier. He's saying the reason why this opinion says that even if someone's lighting for you in your house, and you're in a place where there are no Jews, you should light your own candles with a bracha, because you have to see the candles, explains the Rama. And that's the custom. But even if you're with Jews, says the Rama, now I'm on the top of the next page, opposite 292. If you want to be strict on yourself, so you're in another Jew's house and you see those candles, you want to be strict, and you want to light on your own, you light and you can make a blessing, and this is the custom. Now we're making problems. Look with me at our parents' notes on page 9. Top of the page, see?
Underlined?
Skip the underlined lines and start where it says Mimbit, Mishnah Berurah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit cut off, so I'm going to fill in the blanks. That's right. Mishnah Berurah. That which Maran says that you light with blessings. Meaning, even if they're lighting for you in your house, right? We're quoting the opinion of Maria, Buhav, and the Mordechai, who say that even if your wife is lighting for you in your house, you can light your own Hanukah with blessings, correct? If you're in a place where there are no Jews. Yes?
That's what he said.
This is in direct contradiction to that which we wrote in Tafresh Ayin Vav Halacha Gimel Shesover Sham, which we hold there. When they light in your house, you don't have to make a blessing anymore when you see candles. It says, and therefore, according to Halacha, do not follow this opinion. Unless you say, I do not wish to fulfill my mitzvah with my wife's candles.
See, maybe I have to have a kavanah.
Like the Ramah says here. The Ramah is saying, you can opt out of your wife's candle lighting and light your own candles.
But he had a caveat here. He said, if you're in a place where there's no Jews. He's not saying universal. He just says in that particular...
Correct. That seems to be a detail that we're not jumping all over. The problem is here, how are you lighting with brachot when someone already did the mitzvah for you? How could you make a brachot
Well,
again?
he must have a reason.
It's
He does.
disrespectful.
Mishnah Berurah explains the reason, by the way.
It's disrespectful to your spouse.
The poskim say, how could it be that Maran is quoting this opinion when it's contradicting what he said earlier? Earlier, Maran was quoting the majority of the poskim. Here he's quoting two poskim. Meaning, these two poskim are directly contradicting that which it says earlier. That shouldn't be a surprise. Omnam, but, look here. In the second. Katav Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah writes, Sheyesh poskim. There are poskim shesovrim who hold. Who are those poskim? Bet Yosef. Who's Bet Yosef?
That's what we're studying.
Who's Bet Yosef?
Some Maran.
That's Maran. Yeah, don't be scared. That's Maran. Rashal, Rav Shlomo, Luria, and the Pri Chadash. Achar shechazal patru al yedei hadakat ishto. Since Chazal already hold that you fulfilled your obligation with your wife's candle lighting, lav kol keminei lomar ini rotzeh latzet b'shel ishti. You have no freedom anymore to say, oh, I don't want to fulfill my mitzvah with my wife's. Chazal already said that you're patur once your wife lights. You can't just obligate yourself because you feel like it. L'chen, if you want to light, yadlik below bracha. You can only do it without a blessing. Or lishmoa habrachot me'acher, or you can hear the blessing from, let's say, the host who's lighting with the blessing, and then you light on your own without a blessing. Or third option, Yisha'el, you can maybe estimate the hadik nerotav, to light your candles, ulevarech alein, to make a blessing, zman ma, a little bit earlier, ma kodem shemadegat ishto beveito, before your wife lights in your house. And you could beat her to it. You beat her to it, she didn't do the mitzvah yet, so you can make a blessing too. Aval, but en limchot biyad hanoagim levarech kol ofen. You should not protest those who make a blessing on these candles they're lighting. Achar she'arbe acharonim iskimu levarech, because many acharonim say that you can make this blessing, and our parents ends off his own opinion. Avad yoter tov linhog kanam, but it's better to not do that. I mean, they have what to rely on, but it's better. At the very least, you want to light it, but without brachot. Don't stick your head now into machloket, making brachot on something that doesn't need brachot.
Why do we completely skip over the part that says if you're in a place where you're not doing it? I mean, it seems to me, he doesn't say in general, he just says in that particular instance.
Why do you want somebody will want to light the candle before their wife? When
Because he
they,
wants to make the bracha.
He's in a different place.
yeah, but if he knows that his wife will do it for him,
He has this thing that he has to say about it.
He loves
Well,
to
then
he,
if
lo-
he
he
says-
loves
Dan,
to
can I see
fulfill
your
the
Shulchan
mitzvah.
Aruch for a second?
But if he says it, is he saying it now
It's
not
talking
for his,
about it.
for his wife? So how does his wife
No, he's
know?
not saying it for his wife, because he's not home.
But he's not home, so why, how could she say it for him then? Unless she has that in mind. If it could not, then. It's never easy, straightforward.
But
If it was Marlene, it would be so boring.
yeah,
It would be so much easier.
yeah, but then you get oversimplified Judaism,
Oh, wow.
and then you lose nuance and shades of color.
Sounds like a good idea.
A lot of people think it's like that, but that's the problem. Just do that, just don't do that. Do this, don't do that. Do this.
Well, okay, a little bit of
At
variation.
least we don't have to worry about
Many of the rabbis don't like the
lighting
whole
a tree.
idea of making brachot on his own. But nobody is
How
saying,
about cutting the tree?
I mean, nobody's explained to me why it makes a difference he's in a place where there are no Jews.
Only tefach and
Very strict,
musty
because they're
trim.
very
Let
particular.
me look on it at home, because that's, you're right, that's a
Minimum.
percent of their reviews.
What is that?
That's good.
Little
I
scribble
think
there.
Apostrophe.
then
You touch it? Ah, okay. Thank you.
Are you ready for this next halacha?
I don't know.
I don't know this one, but
It
okay.
depends.
Sometimes you can do almost what you want because you can find someone who's made a halacha paskin about that.
Let's do this. Halacha. It's an interesting halacha.
Where are you?
Dalid. Opposite page 292.
Yeah.
Hanutar bayom hashemini. The oil that is left after the 8th day. Min hashemen. Hatzarich l'shur hadaka. The olive oil that you needed to light. Meaning, not what's left over in your bottle. The stuff that's left over in the glasses of olive oil.
Oh, they don't burn completely?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oselo medura. You make a little bonfire. V'solfo b'fnei atzmo. You burn it on your own. Sharei huktzah lemitzvato, because it was already designated for a mitzvah. In Morocco, this was a celebration. The day after Hanukah, in every courtyard they would make bonfires, and then housewives would give out cakes and cookies, and children would go gather sticks and all kinds of whatever they could find that would burn. It was like Bomer, like big bonfires all over town.
Wow.
It was a celebration. They'd hand out tzedakah to people. It was a big celebration the day after Hanukah.
After Hanukkah.
And they,
Like
One
an
day,
Isra-
one day I will like.
It's like an Isru Chag.
Yeah, I will translate one day the letter of Yosef Masas. Plot Hashem.
and then
Right, so
that's
it is.
where they get rid of the excess oil.
Right. Ve'im nit'arev
Interesting.
b'shemen
Nice
acher.
point.
What if it got mixed into other oil? What happens if there's extra? And it spills into another oil.
The oil used for lighting?
Let's say you have all your Hanukkah candles set up. As the 8th day, and your cleaning lady comes over and says, hey, your holiday, the Jewish thing is done? Yes. So she wants to do you a favor. She gathers up all the extra oil in the Hanukkah candles, and she pours them into the different oil candles you have around your house.
I mean, not Hanukkah oil candles, just
Right. 'cause
lights.
Right.
for your
Before
lights.
electricity.
Lights, yeah.
Your pre-Edison lights.
And now, you're not allowed to use this oil because it is Hanukkah oil mixed with non-Hanukkah oil. Ve'en shishim levatlon. You don't have 60 amount of the regular oil to nullify the Hanukkah oil.
Oh.
Do you realize that batel b'shishim doesn't only apply by eating?
No, it's interesting.
Or let's say even you wanted to eat. Let's say she poured it all back into the oil container. Let's say.
The big jug.
Yeah, now you want to fry something with it tomorrow. And you don't have enough oil to nullify what she poured in. Yesh mishomer, there is an opinion that says, this is who says this opinion? Let's follow it all the way to the left. Zayin, what does the Zayin say?
The tour.
The Tur, in the name of
The Shem.
Hashem.
Hamaran.
Haram, the name of the Ram of,
Meo.
in the name of the Maharam of Rodenburg.
Rot.
Rotenberg,
This
yes.
is the Tur quoting the Maharam of Rodenburg. Yesh mishomer, there's one who says, she'en lo sif alav kedei levatlo, that you shouldn't add more olive oil to your container in order to be mevatel, in order to nullify the prohibition.
So what do you do with it? If you throw it out?
This whole chapter is talking about nullification in 60. And it's titled, the top of the chapter is titled what?
Din ha'atzmut.
Din ha'atzamot, the laws of bones. Let's say the non-kosher chicken bones fall in with the chicken. Im mitzarfim v'tel yisur shel v'tel yisur chatchila. Do the bones of the animal join in with the permitted substance in order to nullify the chicken itself, the meat itself, with yisur? See, the bones themselves of a non-kosher animal are not necessarily prohibited biblically. It's the marrow inside of the bones and the meat that's on the bones. So the question here is, can you count the bone itself as the kosher part that's in the soup to nullify the not kosher thing that fell in? That's what this halakha is talking about.
Why would we be kosher? Yeah.
Non-kosher animal bones are in a different category. Don't worry, the Ramah is already strict about it, it's fine. So now we're going to go to halakha 6. Let's start with halakha 5, yeah?
Hey. 5.
Now, the English translation here, I can't really rely on it because it's done by people, like random people translate random parts. It's an open source project. It's important halakha. You're not allowed to nullify something in 60 at an ideal level. Like intentionally, you can't do it intentionally. ואפילו נפל לתוך היתר שאין בו שיעור לבטלו, אין מוסיפים עליו היתר כדי לבטלו. And if it falls into something kosher that doesn't have enough, it doesn't have 1 in 60 there, you can't add more kosher stuff in order so that it becomes nullified in 60. Like let's say pig oil falls into your olive oil. You can't say, well, I have another container of olive oil, let me just pour it in, and then now I have 60. You can't do that, right?
Diluting.
So it's not that you're like trying to make pig fat, right? You're not trying to say, okay, so I'll do 1 part pig, and that's not the point. The point is it happened by accident, and now you're going to nullify it intentionally. You can't do that either.
Has to be organic.
Oh, sheriba alav. Oh, sorry. Avar ubitlo. Let's say you just broke the rules anyways. You did bitul. Or sheriba alav, or you added more to it. Im b'shogeg, if it was by accident because you didn't know, mutar. It's allowed. Vim b'mezid, but if you did it intentionally and you knew that you're not allowed to do that, asur l'mevatel atzmo. It's forbidden for the person who did the bitul. Im hu shelo, if it's his. V'chen l'mi shitbatel b'shelo. And you cannot do it for the person who you, like you can't, let's say you said to your Jewish customer, don't worry, I'll add the olive oil for you. I can't eat it, but you can't. No, then he can't eat it either. ולשאר כל אדם מותר, and it's allowed to everybody else.
What?
But it would be allowed anyway to everybody else.
Why is it?
Right, meaning I can't eat it because I'm the one who
Oh, okay.
nullified it,
Okay.
but you can.
If you're not a Jew.
No,
No,
you're
that's
Jewish.
anybody.
Oh, not anybody, not Jews. If pig oil falls into olive oil, you cannot add more kosher olive oil in order to
Right.
nullify the pig oil.
Right.
But what if you do? You don't listen to the rules. You do it anyways.
You can't then.
If you did it by accident,
Then
it's a
That's
mutar.
okay.
If you did it on purpose, you knew that you were not allowed to do it, but you did it anyways.
You can't.
For you, it's forbidden. For everybody else, it's allowed, unless the person that is somebody else, you did it for them. Yeah?
Attention.
No, there's a whole Ramah here because this is not my point. It's not the Ramah.
So you could end up in this situation, like in a synagogue, in a shul, saying, "Sorry, everyone's welcome for kiddush except for Zev."
Who did the bitul?
Yeah, did
Yeah.
you do it?
Yes.
Yeah, you shouldn't do
I mean, but
Wow.
Zev's going to
Remember that
behave
next
now.
Zev's not going to be having that anyways. Yeah. So.
Look at the next halakha, Maran. The next halakha, 6.
Wow,
You see the next halakha,
that's
6?
fascinating.
You have the same thing with cooking on Shabbat. You cook on Shabbat. Who is it forbidden to? The one who cooked, everybody else. What about after Shabbat? It may become forbidden to everybody else, but not to you. So we cooked for a sick person. Once the sick person has leftovers, can we eat from his leftovers? These are questions that they're talking about. Look in Orach Chaim, Shin Yud Chet. Chapter Shin Yud Chet. Vav, 6. Isur shel divrehem. A forbidden item from their words. What does that mean? Whose words? Who forbade this?
The rabbis.
The rabbi. Something that's rabbinically prohibited, not biblically. It's not pig oil. It's something else. Like Hanukah oil.
Oh.
Hanukah oil cannot be biblically prohibited. It's rabbinically prohibited.
Right, it can't be.
Isur shel divrehem. Rabbinically prohibited food or whatever. En me'arvin oto biyadayim. Kedei levatlo. You cannot mix it into something with your hands. You can't actively mix it into another food in order to be mivatel it, to nullify it. V'im asa ken b'mezid, but if it happened intentionally, asur, it's forbidden. Aval im nafal me'atzmo, but if it by accident fell into the oil, yeah. Ve'en beheter kedei levatlo, and there's not enough of the kosher oil to nullify the Chanukah oil, marbe alav, you're allowed to add to it, mivatlo, and you nullify it. Meaning, according to Maran, are you allowed to nullify something in 60 if it's rabbinically prohibited? No. But what if it fell into something and made it prohibited? Are you allowed to take your Chanukah oil? You don't want to waste it. And you're going to mix it down to your huge barrel of olive oil in the back because you don't want to waste it. So you got back a few drops. Are you allowed to do that?
No.
No. But if someone had poured this olive oil into your regular olive oil container at home, are you allowed to now take from the big barrel in the back and keep adding until it becomes nullified in 60?
Yes.
Yes. You're allowed to nullify a rabbinic prohibition that already fell into your food and made it not kosher. With a biblical prohibition.
Oh.
Pig oil.
Okay.
That was Chanukah oil.
Okay.
There's a difference between biblically prohibited things and rabbinically prohibited things. It says the Ramah, V'yesh omrim, some say, De'en levatel isur d'Rabbanan. No, you shouldn't nullify rabbinic prohibitions. Although you shouldn't even add to it if it fell in already. K'mo b'isur d'oraita, like we treat it like a biblical prohibition. V'chein nohagim, and this is our custom. Ve'en l'shanot, and do not change it. But half the halachot, this is how it works. Maran says something's okay. Ramah says we have a custom not to, and don't you dare change it.
Can I ask a question? You can
Yeah.
shut it off if it doesn't apply. What about, say you make wine for Kiddush, and then it's not fully drunk and you pour it back into a bottle of wine? Is that a similar thing because it's a ritually defined?
That question goes more into there's a few things. One is the drinking of the wine pogem, did it blemish the cup? If you add more wine to it, that's okay. What about, is this wine already kiddushed out? You know, like has it already been? Probably not. I was once in a situation. Is that where it was? was in the hospital. My wife had given birth, and I only had a little amount of kiddush wine. And so what I did was I made kiddush. I poured out of the kiddush cup. I didn't drink the kiddush cup. I poured out of it into another cup. However much I needed to drink, and I drank it. And then the rest I poured back into the bottle, and I did kiddush, and then havdalah, and had enough wine for everything.
There's a custom among some Hasidim where they take the kiddush wine of a tzaddik and mix it into a bottle, and they pass it on and on and
I
on.
wouldn't blame all the Hasidim for that.
No, but there's
practice.
I said some.
I right.
But is that a similar type of thing?
Well, that's because they want to tell you that they have this wine. You know, this wine is this famous tzaddik's wine. They have a famous story about that. They say that there once was a guy, and he came to a rabbi and said, Rabbi, I have a challah, a special challah, was the Chazon Ish's challah. Chazon Ish passed away in the 50s, you know. He says, how on earth do you have a Chazon Ish challah? I said, oh, we kept it in the freezer until now. That's incredible, but what do you do with Pesach? At Pesach, we sell it to Muhammad. He says, so this is not the Chazon Ish challah, this is Muhammad's challah. This is no longer a tzaddik's challah. But okay, everyone has these things, right? They give you dollars. I once someone gave me $1 from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I looked at the date and it was like 2006. I said, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but after 1994, I don't believe there can be any dollars that are authenticated. So he says, oh no, we take $1 from the Rebbe, we mix it all in with other dollars, and then all those dollars count to be. Okay, now I'm sure as a chassid that means something to you, but practically, I don't really think you could say that this wine came from the Baba Sali, you know, or there's I don't think you could say such a thing in good faith. Here, when it comes to bitul, really what you see is there are cases which you're allowed to do bitul. So now look again at Maran's language. With this, I'm going to end for tonight. Maran says, V'im nitarev b'shemen. We're back in the real Shulchan Aruch, here where we're at in the book. And if the mixed into your oil, acher, into other oil, ve'en shishim lebatlo, and you don't have 60 in that oil to nullify it, yesh mish omer, there is one who says she'en losif alav kedei lebatlo, that you shouldn't nullify it. What's Maran telling you? You're allowed to or you're not allowed to?
Not.
Maran is abbreviating. Maran really should write, and if it mixes into your other oil, you're allowed to nullify it. Like I hold in Yoreh De'ah, you can nullify all rabbinic prohibitions like that. But there is someone who disagrees. In which case, which would be Maran's opinion? The first one. And the second one is not. Maran is assuming that you already know Yoreh De'ah.
Oh, Moran, not.
Yeah.
Moran,
So Maran is speaking in shorthand, but that's not accurate. Maran is saying you can nullify it in 60. But there is an opinion, like the one who Rama is following, that says you can't. That's ready for you to make your own decision. Today, what I know, that Ashkenazim and some Sfaradim are particular to burn the oil after Chanukah. By the Sfaradim, I didn't see it so much. Maybe today, you know, but by the Ashkenazim, it's a big deal. After Chanukah, all the leftover oil, candles, whatever, burn them. Now, really, I'm going to find you a leniency. If you want, if you give me 1 more minute, 1 minute, you'll see here. And the Mishnah Berurah says in 18 in Yidchet, he says, if you put in a lot of oil, Baruch, you fill up your own cups of oil at home, or use the pre-filled?
I've been doing both. But
Both. Okay, when you use the big cups, how much do you put in more oil than will last for half an hour?
yeah, well, mine are the little cups.
How long does that last?
I mean, they're about the size of those cups.
Yeah, how long do those last?
It lasts a good hour and a half.
So basically the question here is, let's say I fill up my candles. They actually will last about 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a long time. I have huge glasses. So really, after the first 30 minutes worth of oil, is the rest of the oil in that cup considered Chanukah oil?
Not really.
Mishnah Berurah says not really. I mean, the first 30 minutes worth, yes. The rest of it, not. In that case, Mishnah Berurah says, in any case, you don't have to burn the oil that's left over, because the oil that's left over is not from the mitzvah oil. He's saying this whole conversation is in the opinion of those poskim who hold that once you fill up the glass for Chanukah, all the oil in that glass is muktzeh for Chanukah. But already you have a leniency in the other direction, that maybe the oil that you put in, it's not even rabbinically prohibited. And in that kind of situation, you don't have to be as stringent as the Rama wants you to be. Because this is a much lesser, it's maybe not even rabbinically prohibited.
Okay.
So tonight's our last night learning Halacha of Hanukah. Actually, maybe Thursday. I don't know what'll happen on Thursday. It's a good place to stop for now. Next year, God willing, do Shabbat candles come before Chanukah candles. Actually, maybe we'll do that on Thursday because I think that's a good conversation to have. What I wanted everyone to learn was, even in Halacha of Hanukah, there's a lot of depth to it. Sure. People say, oh, what's Hanukah? You set up this way, you light that way, sing Hanerot Halalu, and eat some donuts. Really, the intricacy of Halacha of Hanukah. I mean, the discussion now, who ever talks about what do you do with the wax that's dripped all over your menorah? Who talks to you about that? You might have to burn that wax, or not. Now you know, because that's no different than the oil.
You're right.
You can't just toss it in the trash.
Oh, I do.
Or you can. It depends on what you're holding like. But these are conversations that people don't even begin to think to have because they don't know these halachot. When you learn halakha, you begin to realize that everything that the Chachamim, there's no way Chachamim can give you a holiday and not dictate everything down to the last detail. When you learn halakha, to realize everything is found in the Torah. Everything you learn in the Torah is relevant to something else. And if you think that batel b'shishim only applies to pig fat in your food, it also applies to laws of Chanukah being mixed in. Now, it could be that today you don't really have the situation where people are recycling your oil. In some houses it could be, by the way. In some houses there could be people who use their leftover olive oil to light Shabbat candles. There are some people who light Shabbat candles olive oil. Maybe not you, maybe not here, maybe not me, but some people do that. And therefore this could really be a conversation to be had, even in today's setting. Halakha is something that is all-encompassing. And I think the more you learn halakha, the more we learn halakha, and the more we teach people, hey, halakha has what to be learned inside of, you'll see there's a big difference. The Jewish world will change. And the more we know, the more educated we are, and everything works out properly.